man.
Yeah, and that's leaving the door open for us, which leads me to this, which we'll finish off on here, is the momentum of the Democratic, not the establishment, but the Democrats, the momentum that we've seen with the special elections. I think it was we saw in the mayoral race in Miami. You were talking about before we hopped on the Georgia
Yeah.
election that we saw success in. We can go back to election night in early November where the Democrats had huge success and rarely fucking put a point on things. And how do you think that we can continuously build on that momentum going into midterms to make sure that we change these red districts purple, purple districts blue, and keep blue districts even more blue and get these people in the right position?
So I will answer that question honestly, and because I answer questions like that honestly is why I don't get invited to do all the things that the cool kids get to do. Uh, so Democrats are something like 26-0 in elections since Donald Trump's reinauguration. And my fear is that AIPAC establishment Democrats like Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries look at those results and say, this is a complete endorsement of today's Democratic Party, as opposed to looking at it, I think, accurately and saying, man, people hate Donald Trump so much, they'll even vote for Democrats. Because if you look at the popularity ratings of the Democratic Party generally today, it's in like the 20s. None of these elections that has happened since Donald Trump's inauguration at the beginning of this year, none of the special elections that have happened have been an endorsement of the Democratic Party. It has been voting against Donald Trump. And the Democratic Party can only be against Donald Trump for 3 more years, and then he'll be gone. I know people say he's going to stay, but he'll be gone at the end of 3 years. And then it's like the Democrat Party is going to be right back where it's at right now. All of the senior Democratic leadership in the House and all of the senior Democratic leadership in the Senate take millions of dollars from AIPAC and associated lobbying groups. They've all voted in favor repeatedly of sending more weapons to Israel. Mm-hmm. And that is going to become a bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger issue as we approach the midterms, because we are watching a genocide happen right before our eyes. Hillary Clinton just said a few days ago she said a few days ago that young people watching completely made up videos about Gaza are what's turning young people against the Israeli government and the Israeli military. It's like,
how you can be that deluded still at this point is mind-blowing.
You've got these generational establishment Democrats who won't leave. They keep running for office into their 80s. So they won't leave. They won't step aside for younger Democrats. And we have a huge bench of younger, energetic, principled Democrats who could take these slots from these fucking dinosaurs, these AIPAC dinosaurs, but they won't step aside. At the beginning of this year, when this new Congress was inaugurated this past January, within the first 4 months, and it was incredibly close margins. There was like a 4-seat margin that gave Republicans control. Within the first 4 months, 3 Democratic House members died in office. And they were all incredibly ill when they ran for re-election in 2024, and they still refused to step aside and let go of their power and let go of their job. They were so stubborn in refusing to let go of power that they fucking died in office. And then
we put in Jerry Connolly with the throat cancer.
Jerry Connolly, yeah. And another one was Adelita Grijalva's dad. And then there was another one in Texas. And because the governor has to set the special elections, Greg Abbott was just like, fuck you. We're not going to have a special election. And they still haven't had a special election to fill that seat. And so it's like, how do you keep this momentum going? The Democratic Party doesn't have momentum. the country has anti-Trump momentum. The Democratic Party is still lost in the fucking wilderness, man. They have nothing. They have nothing to offer Democratic voters under the age of 40 as it relates to housing costs, school costs, student loans, the cost of having a family and raising a kid. This Democratic Party has nothing to offer those people aside from being anti-Trump, which they get to do that. They'll do that very, very successfully through the midterms. Democrats will take the House, but until the DNC and this current Democratic Party, turns over the fucking reins to people under 50, they are lost in the wilderness when it comes to appealing to voters.
I'm right.
All they have is I'm not Trump.
Oh, sorry. No, I'm right with you on all accounts, especially, we talk a lot here. We focus a lot on Ukraine, what's going on in Gaza. We're big advocates for getting AIPAC and, PACs in general out of politics. You look no further than the reluctance of both Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer to endorse and get behind Zoran Maammi when it was just clearly, obviously,
a candidate who energized and mobilized voters under 40 overwhelmingly. And the current Democratic establishment basically told him to fuck off.
Right. It's and insane, along with the polling numbers that you talk about with Democrats, I think I've done my part to try to get people to realize that especially with what you're talking about in elections, you put the election results with the polling numbers for Democrats, and you can only come out of one thing, and that's what we're coming out with here. The people are so fucking pissed off. They're so frustrated. They're so angry at what Donald Trump is doing. And the reluctancy of the Democrats to step the fuck up like the American people want them to step the fuck up and provide to the American people like they want them to provide, that they're still willing, like you said, to say, fuck you, Donald Trump. We're going to vote blue, but at the same time, we're going to fucking hold the Democrats accountable, and we're not going to give you these overwhelmingly good polling numbers when we don't believe you're doing the best that you possibly can be doing. So it's not like there was a time and point and place where people were trying to get the low polling numbers for Democrats to associate with liking Donald Trump's policies, when it couldn't be fucking further from the truth. It's the complete and total opposite. They have it's a complete repudiation of Donald Trump's policies and what he's been doing. And then if you look at the polling numbers for Democrats, that's when people are like, okay, I'm looking at Donald Trump blatantly fucking commit crimes, blatantly, commit corruption, steal from this, what Doge was doing. And we have this mealy mouth. We're going to send fucking strongly worded letters, and we will win. And again, with the not utilizing the momentum behind Maammi, it's like there's so many different things and aspects that we could point to. And you're 100% right. But people need to understand that the momentum, whether it be with the Democrats or anti-Trump sentiments, we need to utilize that to our best abilities. We need to utilize that for our power and at least going into midterms. And then once we get once we get to that point where at least we have a singular roadblock in between Donald Trump and allowing these policies to be put in place so easily, with him controlling the executive, legislative, in the rest of the people in Congress. Excuse me, I got something in my eye. Jesus Christ. We have to make sure that we hammer those points home. You know what I mean? We have to make sure that we tell people, hey, they're going to continue voting that way, but guess what? They're going to hold you accountable at the same fucking time. You know what I mean?
Well, and here's the danger. It's like no political party is going to pause and engage in truly structural, foundational self-introspection.
So I think I left out the legislative before I get clowned on for not having the three branches of government down. I think I left out the legislative.
no political party is going to engage in the kind of introspection that the Democratic Party needs to when they're winning every single special election that comes up. Because it's like the establishment folks will be like, we don't need to examine and change anything. Look at how incredibly successful we are. And it's like, the DNC folks are not going to call for this. Chuck Schumer is still trying to figure out if he's going to run for re-election. What is he, 78 years old? Because he wants to be Senate Majority Leader. Polling
numbers could be a benefit. You know what I mean?
He wants to be Senate Majority Leader again. That's what he cares about more than anything. And Hakeem Jeffries cares more about being Speaker of the House than anything. And so they're gonna do the corporate donor AIPAC game that they need to do in order to make sure that those things happen for themselves, as opposed to, putting forth any kind of legislation that would help people under 40 be able to afford to raise families again, while we're sending
Who would you
tens of
like to see
billions of
take the
dollars
reins
to
then?
Israel.
I guess that leads it to an next. Who would you like to see, just hypothetically, whether they've announced intention or not? Who would you ideally like to see at the top of
Uh,
Democratic leadership?
that's a great question. There are so many capable people in the House. Um,
And again, whether just hypothetically, whether they've kind of said or admitted they want to do something or not, just in your opinion, that's all.
I mean, fuck. I want to see AOC be Speaker of the House. Frankly, I know she's gone kind of corporate over the last couple of years, but
Mhm.
I'd love to see somebody like her with her passion and her fire be Speaker of the House. Can you imagine Jasmine Crockett being Speaker of the House? That'd be fucking incredible, man. That would be absolutely incredible. Um, in the Senate, the Senate, oh, fuck, dude. The Senate, it's like there are some very capable members of the Senate who are stepping up to the moment as it relates to Donald Trump. But then, you see, I'm blanking on names. You see Cory Booker, Chris Coons, uh, Jackie Rosen,
Mhm.
and so many others who are on the right side of things when it comes to standing up against Donald Trump. But the second Bibi Netanyahu flies into Washington, they all want to get into that group photo with him. And
Awesome.
it's just like, what are you doing? What are you doing?
I mean,
You
I mean,
know, you're
kind of
just
that.
you're just alienating every one of your voters under the age of 40. And it's like, who are you going to need to win the next set of elections, man? You're going to need people under 40. It's just like it just it's like until the Democratic Party deals with that and so many other structural issues, they're I'll keep saying it. They are lost in the wilderness. They have
And I
almost
feel like we're
nothing
kind
to
of
offer
caught in that
voters.
cycle of just waiting for the American public to be so frustrated and upset with the Republican leadership that they inevitably, just out of
Yeah.
frustration, vote in, a Democrat. And then we kind of get in there and we promise so much, and then kind of, don't we fail to deliver, and then we kind of we're in the same kind of, fucking hamster wheel.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't know. It's
So
it's tough. I mean, speaking
it
of
is.
John Fetterman.
Yeah, and then you get guys like John Fetterman. Thank God he's an anomaly in this Congress, but what people are going to write
Did
books
you see
trying
that
to
he
figure out what
wants a
happened to
pardon
him for
now for
years.
Netanyahu? Did you see that one where he's calling for a
Yeah.
pardon for Netanyahu now?
Yeah.
Fucking, like, what are we talking about? What are
I
we talking about?